one of the problems with being an undisputed champion or even a unified champion is trying to keep all the sanctioning bodies happy, because it can be a very difficult thing to do, particularly if you're not a massive cash cow. Back in the days when Lennox Lewis won the undisputed heavyweight title from Evander Holyfield, he was quickly stripped by the WBA, I believe it was, for failing to fight their mandatory challenger, which at the time was John Ruiz. Lewis instead opted to face Michael Grant, who at the time was seen as a more credible, more dangerous, and more exciting opponent than John Ruiz. People might not look favorably on Michael Grant's career now, but I can tell you as somebody who lived through that era, this is how it was seen at the time. John Ruiz had been knocked out in one round, less than 30 seconds, by David Tua a couple of years before he was mandatory challenger for Lewis, whereas Michael Grant was undefeated. He was the next American Hope. He was a big puncher. He was 6'7". He was athletic. He was 250 pounds. So that's the fight that the public wanted to see. But the WBA, for whatever reason, weren't having it. They wanted Lewis to fight Ruiz, and because he didn't, they stripped him. Now, we could have a similar situation on our hands here with the winner of Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko, because the other day, the WBA announced that Luis Ortiz would be the mandatory challenger for the WBA belt, which is currently vacant but will be on the line and up for grabs in the Joshua Klitschko fight. But this morning, the Sauerland brothers put out a tweet, and I'm going to read this tweet out for you. You should be able to see it on screen as well. The tweet is as follows. Confirmed. Winner of hashtag Joshua Klitschko must face IBF mandatory challenger Kubrat Pulev in the next fight. In brackets, no fights in between permitted. Now, the Sauerland brothers are the promoters of Kubrat Pulev, and I see no reason to doubt what they're saying here. All we can hope is that the WBA allows some leeway to the IBF, because if they don't, then it could result in either the IBF or the WBA stripping the winner of Joshua Klitschko. We don't want that to happen. We want to try and consolidate all the belts. I'm sure most fans feel this way, but we could end up with an absolute alphabet soup situation again, where the belts are all over the place and stay all over the place for years to come. And this is how it was in the 90s. For the majority of the 90s, there was no undisputed champion. You had Holyfield as the undisputed champion for a while, but then Riddick Bowe threw the WBC belt in the trash, and from there on in, the belts became fractured and it became an absolute mess until Lewis and Holyfield finally unified, and Lewis was undisputed champion for, a matter of weeks until the WBA stripped him. And then the WBA belt went walkabout. So we may get a similar situation in this era where the belts are all over the place and we only get an undisputed champion for a very short space of time. We'll see. So let me know what you feel about this, people. If it's a case of Luis Ortiz or Kubrat Pulev, who would you rather see the winner of Joshua Klitschko face? Ortiz or Pulev? I'm sure most people will probably say Ortiz, particularly if Klitschko wins, because Klitschko's already dealt with Kubrat Pulev. So they'd rather see Klitschko fight Luis Ortiz. Could there be some maneuvering done by the winner of this fight? They might look at Pulev and Ortiz and say, okay, which guy's the easier guy? All right, let me lose the other belt then. That could happen. So it's all up in the air at the moment. Let me know what you think about this news, people. Hopefully the WBA give the IBF some leeway and allow that mandatory to go ahead before they enforce the Ortiz fight. But you can't count on it, man. I guess it all comes down to money. If these sanctioning bodies are being taken care of financially, they'll probably give you as much leeway as you need. But if they're not being taken care of financially, they might decide to strip you. Yeah, let me know how you feel. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.